Peace be with you and welcome back to my channel for another video. I appreciate you liking, subscribing, and or hitting the notifications button so that you are alerted when I upload new content. And if my channel resonates with you, then welcome. I appreciate it. So the way my channel works is I channel direct messages from spirit and I translate that to the collective. So I have to put this video in and I have to be honest, it is something that came to me so quickly this morning that I felt spirit just on my back about it, literally. So I was like, okay, let me stop what I'm doing and put this message out. So I wanted to give a little bit of attention to energy vampires, right? And how that actually works. As the collective, when you're deciding to vibrate at a high level, the reason why paying attention to trauma bonds and being in relationships that are traumatic, or you're bonding through your past pains or childhood traumas, is because those situations can literally suck you of your life force. Okay. And it came to me so heavily, as I was thinking of pulling my power back from certain situations and people that I needed to get my power back from that were draining my power. And so, what we have to realize is that no one can take your power. No one can take your power. You give that power away. How? By giving attention to people that are absolutely draining, by giving attention to people that love to argue, by giving attention to people that love to see you angry. This is how you give your power away, right? And oftentimes, when we're in our immature spiritual side and we're in situations that we shouldn't be in anyway, we give that power away so easily without realizing it, and wonder why at the end of the day we're tired, or we can't think, or we can't talk, or whatever it is, right? And this is the thing, the art of war, energy vampires understand that. They understand that the first rule is to lower your vibration so that you become more vulnerable, so that your light dims itself or disappears altogether. And anyone that angers you can control you. Now, the first thing that, situations that want your attention, the first thing that they do is they do things to create a stir, right? It could be an old memory. It could be just somebody trying to do any and everything to get your attention. I always say be mindful of people that will do anything to get attention. People like that are dangerous. Stay away from people like that. Don't give your energy to people like that in thought or deed. So, oftentimes, our thoughts give our power away. If it's something that we've not healed from, or something that is still very traumatic from when we were 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, it puts us in a weakening spiritual state of mind. Very simply, there is nothing draining you at that point. You are allowing yourself to be drained by something that has already happened that you can't change or control. So this is why the shadow work and sitting with your inner self is vital to your existence. Any power that anyone has been allowed to take, you've given away. You've given away. Now, this does not mean that oftentimes you have people who are not just sitting up, giving you negative thoughts. They're putting their power, right, into destroying you. But here's the thing, when you have an ample amount of spiritual muscle, they are only making you stronger. What does not kill you only makes you stronger. So, in calling your energy back, in pulling, snatching your energy back, we have to be mindful to take our energy back from situations that we can't stop thinking about, from people that we know are toxic that no longer need to be in our lives. Because we're only catering to the toxicity within ourselves. We're only drawing based on something that is no longer serving us. So when you feel depleted, when you feel defeated, when you notice that time has passed and you've not been able to accomplish anything, you really truly have no one else to blame but yourself. Now, when we're children, we're dependent. Those are very sensitive situations. And this is why childhood is so important when we try to be adults. Because if I've not healed, if I've not come to some form of resolution, peace of mind, acceptance, and forgiveness, or purging, or everything altogether simultaneously as it relates to my childhood, it will inevitably find me as an adult. It will play itself out into my relationships. It will play itself out into my children. Because one thing is for certain, that we are here to master ourselves at every single level, right? That's the goal. So when those situations become overwhelming, it's because of what we're allowing, or because we're not choosing to do the work. So then we move into calmer waters, or we move into blessings, or we move into decent relationships. And if that trauma is still there, if you're still post traumatic, right? Some of us are still post traumatic or post traumatized from situations, then it's going to show up in your relationship. You will find a partner that will trigger every single trigger that you have. Now, some of those karmic relationships are necessary because there's always a lesson in it. It doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. That's where you need to be. It just means that you're to stay in that situation until you understand the dynamics of how you are allowing a memory, a circumstance, a family member, something that's happened 10, 15, 20 years ago to take your power in the now. It's vital. It's vital because you need your energy to survive. You need your energy to move about life. So when you're sitting with yourself in the quiet of yourself, right? There's no one there. It's only you. No one there to make you happy, mad, or sad. And you, out of habit, decide to think of something negative. Oh, I remember when I was 13, somebody did XYZ to me. That was so wrong. You are now allowing yourself to be sucked into a memory, an unhealed trauma. And I'm not here to say that some of these things are not traumatic. I'm not here to say that a lot of this stuff, most times we have to get through ourselves. Nobody's coming for you. You're it. So you're going to have to save yourself. You're going to have to be your own hero, shero, right? When we allow ourselves to go back to that thought, and we are unhealed, or we've not come to some form of resolution or understanding why the divine allowed it to happen, because adolescence is a very vulnerable time. You don't really make a lot of choices for yourself. Everything is a reflection of the adults around you who you're dependent on, who used to be children. And some of them are still unhealed children. Some of them then were unhealed children. So as we're vulnerable, as we're dependent, those people, those adults that we are looking to with our bright eyes to understand our gifts and talents and what we've come to do, we are relying on their instincts to guide us. And this is why childhood is so big. It's such a huge part of life because it really does set the foundation of what's to come or the challenges that you'll meet later in life. Doesn't mean that you can't overcome those challenges. It's not what that means. It just means that that part really needs attention. The childhood really needs attention. There's no way, I don't care if I go get a degree, a master's, get married 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, have 15 kids, whatever I'm trying to do and build. I cannot, I will not. The divine is so meticulous that you cannot circumvent or shortcut the process to jump from step 1 to 10 when you've not dealt with what has happened at age 10, 13. So really good practice I'm going to share with you. Oftentimes I don't really share personal things, but I think something that's a really good practice is getting a picture of your younger self at whatever age you feel was the first time that you either felt safe or unsafe. Those are very vital moments, very pivotal moments in your life. Remembering the first time you felt safe. There's some of us that can't even recant a moment like that, but that's okay. You can still take that memory. Here's where you become the alchemist. Here's where you take the negativity that you've been through and you mold it and you shape it, deciding what is your energy and what is not your energy. Because in that, you have to unlearn a lot of things that you were taught that were wrong by people who seemingly had good intentions. Adults at the time. Some of them had no intentions at all. You're dealing with a whole bunch of energy. You're dealing with a whole bunch of energy. Some people were just malicious adults. Needless to say, recanting a memory is like having a time machine at your fingertips. So you go back to the memory, you relive it over and over, only to realize that it won't happen again. That's the power. That's where the power starts. And then taking that energy and molding and shaping it. What does that look like? Taking a younger picture of yourself at whatever age you feel you need to take. Look at that person. Look at that little person. And what would you tell that little girl, that little boy? You know what I tell myself? You're safe. You are loved. It's okay. I'd really explain to myself with the little girl of who I used to be sitting on my lap. No, you're not crazy. The gift that you have of prediction, feeling spirits, dreams, clairvoyance, knowing what's going to happen, psychic abilities, you're not crazy. And even though the adults around you don't have what they need in order to guide you, you're going to be okay because God is with you. I know that hurt. I know you didn't see the heartbreak coming at 20, right? I know you didn't foresee not having a family with the person you created a child with at 28 or 35, right? So, with that being said, we have the power to go back in time, in our minds, to every single person that we've been up until this point. Go back into those painful moments, save that person, then come forward. Now, when you're really ready to grow and break that trauma, when you're really, really ready and committed to that, Hold on, let me get my charger. When you're really, really ready and committed to that, you don't have to keep reliving those situations over and over. You just don't. That's ascension. That is coming into the present moment. That is going into those memories and snatching your power back. This is how you ascend. This is how you take back your power. Some of us have to take our power back from ourselves. Guilt, feeling inadequate, insecurity, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome. Whatever situations we were in that told us a lie and we accepted it, those situations need to be dealt with. There is no way around it. I can get up, I can put on my face, I can do my nails, I can do my hair, I can do all those things on the outskirts. But inside, if the little girl is still hurting from the abandonment at 7, then I'm only masking the pain. I'm only putting things under the rug. Now, some of us have done this work. Some of us will completely understand of it. But here's the thing. This work does not stop. It never stops. You constantly have to reach back. If you're not able to get over something, if you did not process that moment on that day in that time, let's use yesterday, for example. If there was something yesterday that hurt you, do it quickly. Reach back, get the lesson, come forward, don't look back after that. Snatch your power out of yesterday because yesterday is gone. Tomorrow ain't happened yet. All you have is this moment right now. So that is where we see power. And it doesn't stop. The work does get a little bit more uh it gets to the point where it does require a little bit more attention from us. I know that when I talk to old people and all they want to do is relive their lives. I love talking to old people. Some of them are better. Some of them are bitter. So this right here really, really, really brings to life the idea that forgive and heal quickly. It's a challenge. When you are trying to get your power back after 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. You got some work to do. So do it along the way. This is how you keep optimum health. This is how you maintain your mental health. We all can have mental illness, meaning something in life that doesn't make us feel well because of our mental, our mind, our thoughts about it, right? Making sure that you don't trauma bond with other human beings. They will only validate your trauma. Anger steals your power. Be mindful of that. It doesn't mean that we won't get angry. That's for the person doing the work to decide. Only you know you better than you. Know thyself, right? As they say. Anger, overthinking, fear steals our power. I hear people talk about black magic and, somebody sending me negative energy. That's because they are reaching for the parts of you that are unhealed. The art of war. When your enemy wants to attack you, your enemy is going to go for the weakest part of who you are. If they know that you really want love, then that's where they're going to attack it, because you can't want love and be love at the same time. You have to have it already. So then when it shows up on the outside of you, you're not afraid to accept it because you've healed past the pain of people that you needed to love at the time you needed to love them. Some of those traumatic relationships needed to happen. Doesn't mean that you have to stay there. So we talk about twin flames, soulmates, you know, divine connections, divine feminines, divine masculines, wanting our divine counterpart from God. You will inevitably attract what you are and what you need to learn. Now, if you have not healed your relationship with your mother, I guarantee you're probably going to marry somebody that reminds you of your mother. Or if you have an issue with your father, you're going to inevitably draw someone who it reminds you of your father. Why? Because the lessons need to be learned. The spirit is on a journey. Okay, so you didn't heal in that marriage. You didn't heal in that relationship, right? And then you had children out of that relationship. So now your children become your lesson. So now they're teaching you something. The very thing that you're afraid of, the very thing that you're angry about, you will keep meeting it at every level. I don't care where you move to, what state, what job, what plastic surgery you get done. The scars are still underneath the surface, and those scars need to be healed. Go within. I heard one of my wonderful spiritual practitioners say, I love her so much. Peace be with you wherever you are. I love when people make it so plain. She said, go within so you don't have to go without. Make it easy on yourself. What's the worst that can happen? Sometimes the worst has already happened. So now you have to, in pulling that energy back, you have to know now that you deserve to heal. You deserve to feel what it feels like to not be affected by anything. Giving that more energy. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Right? So, like I said, this message was overwhelming for me. Anybody that keeps you, uneasy, you have a great responsibility to get that person out of your life. You really do. You're accountable, be it a child, a mother, a father, whatever. I had a sister, for years, every time I would go to her house, she would drain the heck out of me. Now, then at that time, I was aware of my gift, but not to the capacity that I am now, right? She would literally suck the life out of me. I would go home and I wouldn't even see the brightness in my face. These are the other things that we say. Oh, well, that's my sister. Oh, well, that's my mother. Nobody is exempt. She had a lot of healing to do, but somewhere along the line, I felt completely and totally responsible for her pain. I encourage you, Do not, I repeat, I can't tell you how important this is. Do not get into anybody's sick bed. If they want to get up and walk, get up and walk. That has absolutely nothing to do with being a humanitarian, a high priestess, an empress, a divine feminine, somebody that is being used by God. Absolutely nothing to do with that. It doesn't mean that you can't pray for the person. It doesn't mean that you can't offer some advice. But when you do it to the point that your cup is empty, then what are you using for yourself? Your gas tank is empty. One of the biggest things that I learned about relationships is when you are working on it, right? Doing everything you got to do to work on it. That's a red flag. We're married, but we argue every day. We're going to counseling. That is a red flag. Why? Because you've now downloaded the idea, oh, everybody has problems. No, everybody don't have problems. Some people wake up and see only the solutions, and they are living a wonderful life. Do not attach yourself to that slave mentality. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're dishonoring your light. Some people stay in relationships just to save face, just because they don't want to know that, oh, well, I'm divorced. Again, we're going outside in, too concerned about what everybody's thinking, but you live in a miserable life at the end of the day. Only you know what is happening when you lay down at the end of the night in the quietness of yourself and you have to deal with the divine and understand every little part about yourself, what you did, what you said, how you were. How did that make you feel? Do you feel like you're having a good life? Money can't do it. Other people can't do it. Nobody is responsible for your happiness. Now, I'm a little bit more sensitive to children. And this is why that trauma has to be healed early so that they don't become dysfunctional adults trying to have meaningful relationships that only lead in sadness and heartbreak. To all the people that are trying to manifest their exes back into their lives after you've ended a cycle, you're not doing the work. You are in a karmic cycle. Anything that is done, let it go. I cannot stress that enough. Why? Because you could be holding on to something old, not just within a situation or relationship, but within yourself. It's so easy to go back to what is familiar. And some of those situations have conditioned us that we get used to dysfunction. We get used to arguing, and then he comes home or she comes home and say, oh, well, what do you want to eat? No, we've taken all of our issues, our childhood issues. We're kids trying to be adults, and we pushed all of our mess under the rug. Now, let's not get into the sexual aspect, right? Arguing, and then later you're giving up your body. What kind of energy are you? What are you doing? That is an STD, a spiritual transmitted disease. You are now swapping demons and nobody's healing. Everybody's just going to and fro. Nobody's healing. Don't do it. Everybody has reasons. Oh, but what about the money? How am I going to survive? I'm in this relationship. Everybody has a reason for why they're accepting heartache and pain if you're not doing the work. For the people that are doing the work, we can attest, we can assure you One, the work don't stop. It is definitely a journey because the more the years go on, the more experiences you have to snatch your power back from the child molester when you were 10. Snatch your power back from the abuser when you were 21. Snatch your power back. You need it. Sit your 20-year-old self down and heal. Not living in regret. Oh, if I were only 20 again. You're not. That is a delusion. The reality is you are 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, wherever you're at your evolution. You can't be that age again. That is a spirit of regret and guilt. Oh, I wouldn't have married her. Oh, I would have never had kids. Oh, I would have taken that job. Whatever. I'm just throwing things out there, figuratively. Whatever is the regrets. It is time to put all of that, snatch up all your insecurities, all your regrets, all your pains. Oh, he broke my heart. Oh, she broke my heart. Blah 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 blah. Right? Snatch all that up. Throw that in a imaginary box, something, I don't know, a coffin, whatever only you know what you need to put that in order for you to get rid of it. Me, I like to burn stuff. I will burn it. I will set it on fire, set it aflame. In my mind, I see it burning up. I don't need it anymore. Oh, I got the lesson. So you extract the lesson, you snatch it, right? People always tell me, oh my God, you look so young. You know what the secret is? Forgiving. No guilt. Anybody that I wronged when I wasn't happy, I forgave myself. I realized I had the power to forgive myself. And so my body just restores itself to its natural state of youth and good health. I am in optimum health. Great kidney function, great brain function. These are the secrets and the fountains of youth and wisdom. For it says in the Bible, the Lord said, I will renew your life like the eagle. Meaning people won't be able to predict your age. Why? Because you don't have those wands on your back. Drop them wands off. I got to prepare you. Taking your power back from yourself in situations or people is a lot of work. Because I promise you, there's going to be a pop quiz, right? For those of us that got it. Oh, I'm healed. I'm good. I forgive her. I forgive him. And then the person calls you. Or then you see them on social media. or then or whatever. Oh, pop quiz. Spirit is going to test you because God said, I've given you everything on the inside of you to do what it is that you need to do. You're not running from any one situation. And you realize when you walk up to this dragon, this ugly, whatever memory thing, whatever it is, I'm hurting. Whatever that is, when you walk up to it, it disappears. You are here to live and ascend, and you cannot ascend if you still stuck over 20 years ago. So the person that hurt you, you know what? Every morning you get up, bless yourself, bless the situation. I don't care how painful it was. I don't care what they did. Take your power back. Say, you know what? God bless so and so wherever they are. Don't believe it? Keep repeating it to yourself. Tell yourself a good lie. Keep saying that every day that you wake up until it becomes real. And one day, you're like, wow, I'm not even mad at her no more. I'm not mad at him. And then you see retrograde just waltz itself right on in, and you just moving on smoothly through retrograde, because that's all retrograde is the universe giving you a pop quiz. Hey, have you learned your lesson on that? Oh, you still spending money recklessly. Okay. That's all retrograde is. Retrograde will have you getting tired of yourself. So put your foot on your own neck, grab yourself, save yourself, take your mind and pull it out of the body, do whatever you got to do with it, examine it and cleanse it and do whatever you got to do. But this is how you ascend. This is how you become powerful. By no way am I becoming powerful by peeking over my gate, looking into somebody else's yard who's done the work. Oh, I want her power. Oh, I want his power. If you don't go do the work, child, within yourself, God will bless somebody with a car, a beautiful family, a house, a wedding, whatever. Oh, she married now. Oh, she got this. You didn't spend all your years giving your power away to somebody that probably does not even know that you exist. And even if they do, they've done the work. So the divine just keeps blessing them. They are a great example of doing the work. Haters really are secret admirers. I read that somewhere and that just tickled me to no return. That's what your haters are. They want what you have. But what they don't realize is that there is an ample amount for everybody. Stay in your lane. Look at yourself. That's not your life over there. Your life is right here. You don't know where right here is? Go find a mirror. Look into your own eyes. Least you are your best competition. Nobody can take what God has for you unless you give it away. And sometimes God will ordain those situations to teach you a lesson. Why? Because you have to go within. You have to do the work. Oh God, why you let me get with this person? Because that's what you wanted and that's what you represent. And you had to go through that to get through this. So unless you can look back at every single pain, hindsight, hurt, whether you inflicted it on somebody else, whether you never inflicted it on somebody else and you were completely innocent, until you can look back at that in hindsight and say, you know what, it's all good. And really, really know that it's all good and know what that feels like when it's all good. You're not ascending. You're just existing. You're not validating your existence here on this planet while you're here. Crucial. So, I thank you again. Spirit is telling me it's time to move on. I thank you so very much for allowing me to hold a place of space of love and light for you as I do myself. Grand rising, outdo yourself, and peace be with you.